Okay, looks like we have a match offering from our first opponent. It's going to be a Collins game against Noah with 5-point challenge. And we'll be going second. So, let's see how it goes. Currently looking at my rack, we will want to simplify with some plays that spend the J or the V as soon as we can, depending on the position, of course. I'm going to try to score reasonably with some of those tiles, and then from there, we'll see what happens. And if we do manage to get rid of one or both of those tiles, even for a moderate number of points, we should be in decent shape to start building towards something that's a little more bingo friendly. So, my opponent is going to spend a little bit of time on his first turn, which may or may not be indicative of anything. It looks like a very small play of WO, which is going to immediately tell me that he thinks he's close to something. Also, not something that's going to be very usable for me right now, I think. I mean, I could try to go with a J somewhere this way. But currently just trying to see what else I can do in what is a very uncertain position. I think likely, yeah, we'll just try to go for some kind of let's just play off some tiles. Straw into the bag. Doesn't score very well, but it's also not particularly open. And hello, Cordial Snail, welcome. And yeah, some words... well, we're playing in a more expansive dictionary right now, but in either of the English dictionaries, a lot of the standard swears are still in place. The thing that they removed recently from the North American dictionary, and which they will be removing from this dictionary, are the things that are considered offensive slurs that are directed at people. So, but hey, Lecter, welcome. Hope the graphic design is going well, whether it's for the secret forthcoming project or for something else. And yeah, currently looks like my opponent's going to make another 2-tile play, which indicates to me that I did successfully block whatever it was he was going for. I feel like there's maybe something that I can do with this, but double S is not really as useful as you would think, and a doubled A is kind of in my way as well. If there were something like a K on the board, you would have something like Ransack, or, you know, have a K to play through, but we don't have anything quite so fortunate. Ah, going out of your comfort zone on 3D stuff. Okay, I see. I assume you're referring to the artwork, of course. Yeah, currently just looking for some kind of 7-letter play that we can do. I am partly looking through the eye. And I don't necessarily think I'll find something. What I can do is maybe just a small play like that. Because at least the C is going to control the position down here, since the C doesn't take any additional second tiles other than the H, which we have. My opponent is clearly playing short words because he's building towards something of very high scoring that he can't fit on the board at this time. given that information and also the amount of time he's spending, he clearly thinks he's close to a big play, and he's saving up for it. And there you go. Sexting, but only playing off 6 tiles, indicates to me that he might be sitting on too many consonants. And we should have something here that is actually good. Something like handless, maybe, through here. There are probably better locations for it, but this is going to be surprisingly defensive. I was looking at something like an SH ending down here, because that would be fantastic. But I don't think I will necessarily be able to do that. So let's do that. And I certainly hope it's valid. It should be. So that's going to pull ahead by a little bit. Not too much yet, and obviously drawing into Q is not great. Our priority should be to get rid of Q as soon as possible for something reasonably scoring. Since I'm ahead, I would be thinking mostly about trying to close down some positions. Very important thing to notice is that YA does take letters like R and P and so on in front, and currently I have 2 R's, so I could potentially use that, but my opponent might also have been setting up for it. Oh, instead he's going to find a really good 30-point parallel play through here. Now, despite keeping so many A's and R's, I do think that something like QI here is probably the right play. Although QI here could also work, and in fact blocks up the board like crazy. Just looking at what else I can do with the Q, since I don't have a U in hand right now. I think we will do that. So, current positions that we're mostly looking at is the R ending over YA, and potentially some kind of big play coming from the C as well. Okay. Now, let's see what we can do with any of this. I should be trying to get rid of the double R and a double A. G tends to kind of get in the way of everything as well, so don't want to be hanging on to that too dearly. I wonder if something like just playing through here. I don't want to leave the A on a very vulnerable position over this guy, though, so just going to see what else we can do that would not open up too many dangerous positions in turn. I actually kind of like something like this. I don't really like the R leaving the triple lane open when it's very easy to find good endings on the R, but it blocks up a lot of other stuff and it gets rid of some of the tiles that are giving me trouble. Only 18 points, not great. But right now I'm only ahead by 10, okay. Yeah, we can do that. I could have just left the A there, but then you would leave that vulnerable to something like an R, N, or S ending in that spot. And we don't want to be doing too much of that. Now here we have lots of words that we can make with this. We have strokes, we have stokers, we have all kinds of things. I should think about, once again, something that ends with R. Stroker, I guess. Stroker. That should be good. I certainly think it's good anyway. Let me see if there's anything else that I would be more potentially confident in. Stalker? Or... I'm also looking, of course, at that position up top. Just to see if there's anything else that we can take into that position. Not going to stare at this for too long, though, since we do have something. I kind of like Stroker, except for the O positioning, which is vulnerable to some kind of big play with... I guess the X has already gone down, but it's vulnerable to something. Stalker, I wonder if this goes with restock. Let's try it. If he knows it's not good, he'll just kick it off. But I believe it is valid. This E is potentially going to be in a tough position. He's going to play off 6 tiles once again. Again, indicating to me that he's sitting on something that really did not go well with this. Possibly just too many consonants, possibly just getting rid, of course, of both of the remaining R's, so... It feels very much like he's trying to get out of trouble. I'm trying to remember if Zibet is good. I think it is. It takes the H on the end. I mean, I'm ahead by enough that maybe I should just try it. Even though it does dangle... there's no H remaining, no S remaining. I think we can actually do this safely, but I don't like keeping IIU. 30 points is not really enough to justify doing that. What we can do is something like here. NU is going to kind of give us a bit of grief there, but yeah, it's actually currently the double or triple I's that I'm trying to do something with. And I'll probably get rid of somehow. Like, something like this might not be too bad. Or even Ibis. Actually, Ibis I like because it blocks this lane. It does open up a mild scoring spot over here. And being ahead by 60 is not the safest thing, but yeah, once again going to play off 6 tiles. He's really trying to just draw into the bag. And I'm in pretty serious vowel trouble right now. To the point that I would maybe thinking about exchanges, except in Collins, in the dictionary that we're playing right now, you have a couple of really crazy words like EUOI that could dig me out of here. The issue, of course, is that E dangles a potentially dangerous lane. But something like that is probably what I should be thinking of. I want to get rid of the I for sure. Let's just do it and hope we don't get punished. There's some chance that I'll just get hit hard. Over here, possibly with a combo through this letter as well, although that's not so bad because that could potentially open up some room for me to have a counterplay onto triples on the left side. Currently kind of looking at this location here as well, because that might give me something promising. Here... yeah, only P is going to go here, and not much is going to go in front of the F. I mean, the E goes in front, the I goes in front, but that's a pretty closed position up here, and he's going to get within 20 points of me, which does not really feel safe at all. So, yeah, definitely looking at whether there's something I can do up here. This, of course, is still open, as it has been the whole game. Something through here might not be too bad. But I'm not sure what would really do so, given that the S is only really going to take the I through here. And I'm looking at things that would begin with FEI, and I don't really have anything good. I mean, could just go for some kind of small play to fill things in. Could also go for something like this, except that does open up the bottom for something like A plays. Actually, this is not too bad, because I'm able to follow EF with my T. I kind of like this. Usually, you would be advised against having the vowel positioning just right next to the triple, but because the EF isn't going to take much at the end, that's not actually too much of a problem. Here we have inputted... I actually don't know if that's only good with both T's, or if this would work as well. I'm also looking at this position with the R up here. And I don't know if anything will go through to Z, but I kind of doubt it. Oh, I forgot that this lexicon has the word UTU, I think. And hello, Penguin Lord. Welcome. Yeah, currently just trying to figure out what to do with this position that we're in here. 9 tiles left in the bag. This could be something that ends up being quite dangerous, perhaps. Like, this is the lane that I'm most worried about right now, but I don't think I have anything that would go through the R. Let's think about this. Something with the R in the second position. Or in the third position. And I don't know if I have that. Alternatively, we can still think about here. Now, what happens if I play something like... Oh no, that doesn't even reach. I need 6 tiles. Even something like this would be 18 points. And it would lock down that corner at least. But I have to think that given the tiles in the pool, that he is probably gunning for a big play over here. So this is kind of a tricky position, but I could just be missing something here. Like, I'm thinking about the UN prefix and the UP prefix. Can you uptie something? Can it just be like uptied? I don't know. I wouldn't try that. And yeah, Tactics 47, it is a very interesting game so far. He's kept it quite close. Got open lane down here. I've got, I think, inputted, but that doesn't fit, and I'm not even sure it's good without a double T rather than a single T. I think we're just going to go with that. I'm trying to look for anything that would maybe take the U here or the columns UTU, and I just don't really see that. I mean, we could do this, but then we've got 6 vowels in the bag. 30 points, though. That's not too bad. I would be kind of afraid of drawing all consonants at this point because you don't really have any vowels to play through, especially with stuff like the V coming. That's a pretty significant gain. We're closing that position. Let's take that risk. I can't believe I got away with that. Can't believe I got away with that. It's a very good draw when it comes to balance and when it comes to not picking up the Drek like the UVW. Let's think about whether there is something that could head through the R. I don't think it's, you know, pro-named or something like that, but so close to something like Promenade. One tile play there. It does mean he's fishing for some kind of desperation play, which means I must block. And I must block in a way that doesn't open up further. I kind of like this play. It does block unless he finds something like a 9. And I don't see what other lanes he has left. And I've got decent balance. The issue with this is that, yeah, we have 4 in the bag that leaves 1 in the bag, so that's actually not bad. But the bag is absolute dreck. Look at that. Very consonant heavy. NNNUV. I think I have to do this. So yeah, very low scoring game for both of us. This is an opponent that I've played against many times in the past, and he excels on a lot of open boards that give him a lot of room, but I feel like he had a lot of very rough turns where he made a lot of 6-tile plays all over the place, just mostly for rack management. I don't know what he's going for with that play, because I think at this point, looking at his rack, I should just be able to outplay him straight up with just scoring plays from here. I don't know if he was looking at the pool and imagining some kind of spectacular playthrough to Z or something. I should be able to just play carefully and win at this point. I should have thought about where the out and 2 would be, but I think the score there was too big to resist. Because I don't know if I have out and 2. The only 4 I see here is lone. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think at this point he knows that he has the loss, though. I don't see an out. Unless I'm missing something really obvious. That's a 4 in here. Oh, Nola. Nola is good. I'm pretty sure. Or am I thinking of no-low? Or, like, one of those is like a legal term, I think. He's 40 behind. I don't know if I want to try something that I'm not 100% about. But, no, I think it's just no-low or something. And then, yeah, I only see lone in here. I'm trying to look for some kind of hook to deal with that. I can also do something like alto up here, 19 points. That's actually pretty safe. I like that position, in fact. Yeah, I'll have to look that up afterwards, see if I'm confusing... I feel like it's like no-low or something like that. Or... Okay, last tile. See, like 4 points here. Let me think about this. 3 points here. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I should just grab 4 and go out. So yeah, everything is valid, and he has the V stick at the end. I'm just going to exchange GGs with him, and we should look into the game to see what he was going for early, because I think there were probably some turns where he was very close to building towards a bingo early on, and then after the first few plays, it looked like it just kind of fell apart a little bit. So let's get into the analysis board and see what that's about. Good game against a tough opponent? Yeah. Fairly low scoring. I mean, you know, this guy's scoring 500 against me all the time, right? It's very difficult to actually have board control against him. And I think when we go through the board, we have to look at some of his 2-tile plays near the beginning, where he's close to something and it doesn't materialize. So let's see what that's all about. So this is his opening rack, and he searched for about a minute and a half, and I think decided that there was nothing. And it's a high probability enough as a rack that he's almost certainly correct. And so yeah, you can see that this actually is the correct play with what he has. Now, Jovial... Yeah, I was mostly thinking in terms of dumping the J and V, so I'm pleased to see that this was something that evaluated very well. Because this was a bit of a sticky situation on my end as well, where I was thinking, okay, it's low scoring, but I was definitely thinking in terms of blockage as well. Even though this does open up all these lanes down here. Yeah, pity about that Y. Look at that. That Y is just in the way. Except he misses trains, which I don't know, and which, given the probability there, I believe is Collins only. And it is from Edmund Spencer. Like, so much. Look at this thing that the engine is suggesting. Joviality. I wonder if joviality is good, in fact. Yeah, he doesn't have an I here. Yeah, when I played Jovial, I didn't even think about possible extensions, because I was thinking, oh, adjective, that's great, we won't have to deal with an S-hook. But yeah, missing trains is something that I think he's going to be regretting a lot when he steps through that game. I was looking for something like Sarcina. Oh, you know what? I don't know why I didn't play that, because I was thinking about that, but I was thinking probably one of those variants of it that has the E instead, and I was thinking, oh, there's no E. I guess I stopped looking at the SARC beginning because I was thinking of something that looks very similar, like probably just the other plural, which is a Sarcine. Let me just check that. Yeah, because when I was messing around with that rack, I was visualizing the AE ending, and I think with no E on the board or my rack, I just wrote that off for some reason instead of doing the obvious thing and just swapping the E with the S. I really should have gotten that. I don't know if I could have gotten Ackerson's. That would have been something that I would have seen before because it's part of the same anagram, but which I would not have been as confident in. Kind of like the double-double with Arcanas there, except of course for the A position. But yeah, I really should not have missed Sarcenas, given that I 100% know the other way to pluralize it. So yeah, this is when he plays Sexting. You can see that, as I suspected, he was really frustrated with the consonant block there, and it's actually R he's going to keep with Sexting. So R the whole time has been threatening something like this lane, and the draws just didn't materialize for him, which is really quite unfortunate. You know what? I was looking at this H hook, but as soon as sexting went down, I stopped looking at it because I didn't think that I would be able to find something like that. And I probably wouldn't have been confident in sexting taking an S either. Because when you're sexting someone, right, you would think that noun is just sexts, S-E-X-T-S. And I didn't know that you would just pluralize the act of sexting somebody. So, yeah, didn't think about any of those 90-point plays there. Or to double-double, but I don't know if I would have seen DC's N dashes as lovely. I guess M dashes is probably good as well. Don't know if I actually knew... Yeah, N dashes and M dashes are both good. N caches. Hailness, I'm pretty fine with what I played, which was Handless, which doesn't even show up in the engine until much further down because it scores so much less than all these 90-point plays or 80-point plays that it's seeing. So, score-wise, I made a pretty weak bingo, 70 points, way off the chart, but positionally I actually kind of like that because it means you're kind of confined to this lane and this lane after that play. And this handless position really locks up the board for so much of the game that follows. Oh, did I actually look at this turn? No. Reese's. Yeah, if he really wanted to get rid of the triple E, I don't know if he would have wanted to do that. Playing from behind, he may have been prioritizing keeping some things, but no, he is going to play off all three E's in that spectacular position. Always nice to see those super parallel fits like that. But I don't know if the engine actually liked it that much. I don't know if the engine sees it. Yeah, it sees it a little further down, but really doesn't like the CGR leave. Mostly, I would think, because of the G. Like, it's strongly valuing plays that are sacrificing points to get rid of the G. But of course, the Woogle's engine here is just kind of doing that naive evaluation of just score and leave without respect to what's being planned positionally. QI down here, QI up here. I liked closing it off. Even though, yeah, I liked closing it off. This, vulnerable down here, vulnerable to something off the queue. This remains open. I think even just ahead by 20, I did want to start locking down. So, very early in this game to start locking down, but you can see how low scoring it wound up being at the end. Yeah, Milch was a very nice find here. I'd forgotten about the L hook here, actually. I mean, I know the word, I just didn't realize that I should have been watching out for it. But yeah, you can see massively consonant blocked on that side. I did not know this word. Grackle, a kind of American blackbird, which is oddly enough not in the North American dictionary. Yeah, I wasn't completely happy with the play I did make. I wouldn't positionally do something like that, obviously. Yeah, a couple positions for Raga and such, but I go with the top position. Which has a risk here, but it does otherwise shut down a fair amount of stuff. But it was very much a rack management play. 1K man, congratulations on getting the full unlock. I'm nowhere close. I didn't have any matches that got to any of the castles in Worlds 5, 7, or 8 when I was playing my last session. So I don't think I'll be able to get it done before the shutdown. But congratulations on doing that. I don't know how much effort it took you. But I just wouldn't have games that go past 7-2 or 8-2, right? So unfortunately, getting to the castles just was not happening. Most of my matches yesterday, in fact, just didn't really spawn much Bowser at all because people were just not surviving to the castles. But yeah, he's going to go Says down here. I mean, he's thinking about points at that point because he's keeping fairly close with me. It's not that far behind. Yeah. Stucker, I don't think I knew. I correctly saw that there's nothing here, but look at this 9 over talks. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And the score is the same as all the more interesting looking plays. But wow, that would have been so fancy. But yeah, I saw Stroker, I saw Stalker. Didn't know Stonker. And you usually try to rush to the level, not targeting much. Yeah, I was thinking that I should do that as well, given that one came in. You know, I wasn't really thinking about wins at that point, I just wanted to go for unlocks. So if I'd done that in a more focused way and really just gone for course clears to try to race my way there, maybe that would have been a smarter thing to do. Lots of 6s and such. Still a very rough position for my opponent to be in. And with lots of N's in the bag, I don't know if he would have been comfortable with any of the GI leaves here. But ultimately, he just decides to turn over as much as possible. In a pool that's already out of S's and blanks, and which is going to start getting tapped out. But I think the reasoning behind this was, you know, he would potentially open up for vowel endings here. And more importantly, have the R opening that does present as threat until the end of the game. Did not think about Qbity, I do know the word. I did think about Zibet, and because I was thinking that there were no S's and H's left for the hook, but I did not like that leave. From the evaluation here, the engine seems to find that even though it's kind of evaluating that leave as like minus 17 from the face value of 32, it's not really stacking that too far down. I liked Ibis. I liked the way it blocked here. I'm okay with that play given that I didn't see the 39-point play instead, which would have opened up all kinds of volatility on the right side. And yeah, once again, my opponent is just having all kinds of trouble. And okay, pairings are coming up for the next round, so I have to speed through this a bit. We might return to this later, but we're already kind of due for the next game. So I will have to maybe look at this one some other time. I'm just going to scroll through. I did miss something. I missed Turniped. I don't think I would have necessarily tried Turniped, but yeah, because that is also Collins only, which is why I would not have seen it before. I was thinking of Uptide, but I was not confident in it, because I wanted to do something with UTU. And that really would have sealed the deal, but yeah, at that point, was just trying to close it out. Didn't really look at those options. But I wasn't far ahead by enough that I could have risked letting my opponent have lanes. I really did just want to shut down at all costs at that point, so long as I was able to retain the lead. And, yeah, I'll be playing another Collins opponent next. So we'll see how that goes. The pairing has just come up. Oh, I didn't see the L hook here for going out. That was an absolutely terrible miss in the endgame. Yeah, considering that I was looking at this next turn for AIN. Anyway, let's take a look at the next game. Okay, we'll be going first in this one. And let's see how it goes. Don't like that V. I'm thinking of just something like voice. I don't like keeping TT, but you know, Covet keeps TI, but don't like it so much because of the E position. Let's just go voice. I don't know if this takes something like OUT in front, or out voice, or something similar. And that would be one thing we would have to consider. But, and of course the V not really taking any parallels isn't really going to be very amenable to, you know, blocking something like out voice if it does in fact exist. So, yeah, but I like the C positioning. I guess in Collins it is vulnerable to the H, which I always forget about. I just never think about it until afterwards, as we saw in the last game. And yeah, next move for me is going to be some kind of very scrappy rack management. Just to, you know, work my way into the bag and score reasonably with the W or something. Oh, very nice double-double for my opponent there. 2x2 with Impolite is going to be 86 points. Doesn't score as much as you would think for a double-double, but the M is going to give me a place to put it. Y, so with something like Witty. Keeps 2 vowels, but I like 41 points. I'm just going to do it. So it does leave me a little bit vowel heavy, but drawing into the S and the E and so on makes this a little bit better, especially with all the very vowel heavy plays that are potentially available, like Ohia and so on. I think there's another crazy H with 3 vowels thing in Collins as well. Like, it's like HUI's... I think it's HUIA, in fact. Or, yeah, there are a couple of 3 vowel, 1 consonant words in Collins that I've seen and which I just can't tell apart because they all look like nonsense to me. But, you know, we'll deal with that as we go. So yeah, I am behind just because Impolite hit me so hard. Impoliteness, I guess, often does. If we wanted to go something like Ohia, this would not be a bad place given that I'm setting up my own S-hook in that instance. It would be risky, but when you're behind, you kind of have to play around with some of that stuff. Once again, I am forgetting that I still have the H available for parallels on this side as well, if I wanted to play something off there. The vowels that would go under E are the E and the A. And I don't want to spend the E, so basically I would be committing to something like HAO, which still isn't great. Scores decently, at least. So yeah, just going to wait for the move here. The A in front of IT is also something that has some potential if we want a lower scoring play, but I want to keep things reasonably open at this point because I'm holding the S for a potential hook here. Impolite would not take the S on the end, but if I play something... Oh, you know what? I don't know why I was looking at Ohia here. OT is not a word. So what I was saying earlier is wrong. I can't do that. Yeah, sometimes you just notice those things after the fact. Kreng. Seems like a Collins thing. I don't know if it's worth a 5-point challenge. Because I think it's the kind of thing that I just don't know, which my opponent knows. I'm at enough of a lexicon disadvantage with some of the Collins players that sometimes I have to be a bit picky and choosy with challenges. Often I don't know if that is the right approach. Currently thinking about plays through the K that would resolve some of my vowel issues. But failing that, I mean, I would like to get rid of the U if I can. And we'll just have to see how that can potentially happen. I think maybe this is fine. 17 is not great. I don't quite remember. This looks right. I know that HUIC is good in both lexicons. I think this is good, though. It doesn't really have a better fit elsewhere, and I also don't know if it would take an S, which... I wouldn't do that anyway. I think we'll go with it. I mean, Q is still in the bag, but so are the other 3 U's. I'm not thinking about keeping U's for any kind of special purpose at this early stage of the game. Can you have a Toweler? You can have an Owlery. So if we have an I to play through, we have Owleries. This I, unfortunately, isn't placed well enough to do that. But if we have an I that's dangled somewhere, we have Owleries. I don't know what else we might have. And if we don't see anything particularly good, priority will be to play off the W and probably the doubled E, I should say. So, we'll have to think about that. You know, even something like woke would be fantastic because you open this up. Now, I don't know if this dictionary is recent enough that it would allow you to be woker. You know, if you're more woke than somebody else, and I don't know if that's worked its way in yet. But there's a lot of stuff in the latest revision of this dictionary, Collins, which is 2019. There's a lot of stuff that is internet speak. Like lulz is in there, L-U-L-Z, and a whole bunch of other stuff that's very neologic. But yeah, my opponent's burning a fair bit of time. I wonder if he's sitting on blanks or something. Because it is... Well, I mean, online it's sometimes difficult to get a good read on why people are spending time the way they are. You never know if somebody is just busy or distracted or drawing diagrams all over the place on stream or doing something silly like that. Okay. Oh, it looks very much like he was just consonant heavy the whole time. Well, okay, that kills the woke idea. Something like this might be fine, actually. It's a good leave. Not a bad score. I'm just trying to see if there's something I can do to really make use of the triple lane somehow. I do want to kill the triple lane, I'm pretty sure. I feel like... Yeah, I mean, 18 points is kind of weak when we're 50 points behind. But I want to leave all of the S lanes, well, the only S lane open. And I don't know if I see something much better. It would be nice if I had a longer play, perhaps, to just open up 2 lanes, if I can. But I don't think we'll see that. Well, let's just go for that. Okay, this is great. This is air holes and Scholier. And as a 7, I wonder if there's something... You also have stuff through T, like loathers and such. There's loathers, rat holes through T. I don't know if there's a 7. I don't think there is. But I don't have a T to play through, obviously, so I would be mostly looking at air holes through here. So this is going to be the play. That is first choice. And yeah, just looking at what else might be possible. I guess arsehole. Yeah, we have an E to play through. We have arsehole. And if we played that, we'd be a real arsehole. I'm actually kind of looking forward to that now, because unless we have a play that specifically blocks in a position like this, we will get something down. We will have either arsehole or air holes. I'm actually kind of looking at the W's as well to see if maybe there is anything that would begin with hole or whale or anything like that. And yeah, Lector, I guess, is kind of rude, but it's not rude enough to be a problem. Because, as you may or may not have heard, because this was very widely reported, oh, we don't get to play arsehole. Puncta. I don't know if you even know Puncta. First of all, yeah, as you may or may not have heard, one of the things that is happening with the next time this dictionary is revised, that things that are regarded as slurs directed at people offensively are going to be taken out of the competitive dictionary. That has already happened in the North American lexicon. So air holes would just kind of be the weak play here. I'm looking, because I have this, the H, I'm trying to see if I have something that would go through to C. If not, I will go for something like Lothers, because I've seen it already, and the H is actually in a great position for that, for 80 points. I'm going to tell my opponent in chat that he blocked arsehole. But then I'll play Lothers. Blocking the arsehole. What kind of play is that? Should have just tried to challenge Puncta on principle and give away 5 points, but the game is close enough that I shouldn't fool around with stuff like that. And yeah, I actually did tell my opponent in chat. I don't have the chat window open on stream because sometimes, you know, I am playing mostly with people that I have met in real life, and sometimes we get a bit chatty in ways that could reveal personal information, and so just for safety, I am not displaying the chat, but I did actually tell them that he blocked arsehole. And you'll just have to take my word for that. The Q is kind of an interesting position here. I don't know that I would necessarily do that, but tea bread. Tea, a drink that you serve with jam and bread. What do I think of the word tea bread? I don't know about this, but it's also reasonably high probability and the kind of thing that you may know. So in the rule set that we're playing with right now, if I challenge and I'm wrong, I only lose 5, or rather I only give away 5 points. I don't lose my turn. But 5 points could end up mattering in a game where we are about 30 points apart, and I'm about to play something that's probably going to be about 30 points. Tea bread. Let's think about this carefully, because I think it's the kind of thing that my opponent would know. But I have my doubts. Often you just kind of have to guess, like, what has an opponent of this quality or of this experience plausibly studied? I think I just have to play out of it. Unless I have a good X play. I'm looking at this position here to see if I have anything that could be a good X play. Anything that could come through here, perhaps. You know, with some kind of giant tile dumped down there. I think I should get rid of the Q. But I was kind of worried about the vowel situation that would come out of that play, and as you can see, that's the issue that I'm in now. That... Okay, just Fido. Not going to be too much of an issue. It would be nice to do something down here, but if I play the X down here, that just sets up for my opponent to come back and score with it himself. And... yeah. I mean, something like this would be fine. There is a blank left, but no Ys, because if you play box like that, you would be worried about the Y coming in. I think it's a little bit heavy on consonants in terms of what's remaining on my rack. So I don't like that so much. I feel like I should just keep the X, but O does not go in front of L by itself, so I don't have any plays down here. So, looking, might even just go for something simple just to keep some vowels, but 17 vowels, 20 consonants in the bag. Don't know. One F in the bag. F is potentially a big play here. Don't really want to leave the O in that position. Let's just go box. Yeah, that was maybe not great. At this point, I really do need to think about playing through vowels somewhere and just dumping as many consonants as I can. I never think about the HM, actually, that, you know, you can in fact have words like mam or gam or dram, something like that. Even though BOMG is OMG, not a very good leave. Okay, yeah, that was going to go down eventually, that S spot on Kreng. I'm still some ways behind here, and I don't like that. Now, good thing about the AR spot here is it sets up my M. If I draw an A or an E, that could allow me to follow up with an M play. I have the other M available to do that. I should think properly about whether I can do anything with the E down here, but no, I don't think so. I think this is fine. 3 consonant play. Draws into the Z, that's not too bad. Yeah, so I did draw the E, so the idea would be that eventually I would want something that like ends with EM, for instance. Like even just gem would score 27. If I have something that reaches to double, even better. Actually, the B would fit there as well, except you're not going to have very many EB endings. It would be fantastic if I had like Zineb, like Z-I and EB coming down here, but we are far from anything like that. Biz would be great here. It scores reasonably with Z and gets me out of some of the consonant trouble. I actually like Biz. Should be looking properly at positions like this, in case there's something that would stretch the Z down to double. And vid, okay. Yeah, consonant here is not going to be too much of an issue for me right now, I think. It mostly just kills the lane, like he's thinking that maybe a bingo lane is a danger. Now, that's interesting to me because while he has a strong incentive to play defensively as the player who is ahead, if he were holding the blank, I don't know if he would do that. Because as the player holding the blank, he would probably still be trying to, leave a spot open to dump something on me. So I think the best thing we can do is actually catch him, pull 3 points ahead, and get the rack back into a playable state. And yeah, keep in mind, this spot is still very much open, and in fact, now we have an F that we can use for EF endings. Of course, if I wanted to dump some tiles, I could do something like that, but I would mostly, I think, be looking at using the F to parallel down here. And Extra Typo, it's good to see you here at last, taking a break from streaming, I see. And yeah, it's been a while, and it's very good to see you here. Extra Typo, for those who don't know, usually runs his club stream during the same time, and he has been on fire lately. Lots of collaborations with massive chess streamers like Eric Rosen, as well as a very entertaining Twitch Plays Scrabble night over the past week, along with all kinds of tournament programming. So anybody with any interest in this game, please do follow our good friend Extra Typo, because his channel is fantastic. I've been doing well. I hope you're fine on your end. I think just out of secrecy, Extra Typo, somebody was mentioning something about 3-letter phonies coming down on competitive boards on one of the streams over the past week, like that he just couldn't believe that he saw 3-letter phonies on expert boards, and of course I just had to hold my tongue about the time I played Dar on you, because I didn't know any better. Kind of liking the F there. I feel like we should pull ahead with score as much as I can. The issue is I don't have something like an A or an S to follow up here, and that get me in trouble very quickly if my opponent is holding S's and blanks. He's actually somewhat likely to be doing it at this point. So don't know if I like that then. But the sort of F spot here is almost too good to pass up. Should also potentially be thinking about plays over here that would not be as dangerous. Let's take it. And okay. What am I looking at here? I mean, I do have the A now. If I have some kind of 5 going down there. But yeah, looking at potential 6s down here as well. Change 4 now, that's interesting. Kind of expecting that he's holding UU or something. I had been suspecting that he had not already had the blank. And let's see what I can do with this. I'm probably missing something actually decent. Yeah. Probably don't want to do something silly like this. I mean, it opens up my own O. But 3 O's and a blank in the bag, I don't know about that. So, let's see what we can do with this. One second, I just have to be off mic for just a moment. Sure, let's just gun it and set up the O. I feel like I probably missed some kind of massive 6 down here. but we'll find out after the game. And yeah, I guess Aster's Hypo, both the Deldar and Conrad are also themselves streaming at this point. I've actually been lurking a little bit when David Eldar has been playing Age of Empires, because it seems like that is his other big fascination. I wouldn't say I play Collins a lot. I do with this club, because this is such a dual lexicon club anyway. I mean, I figured that if the Collins players want to play Collins, I might as well practice against them. And so I've only learned it at a very elementary level, I would say. And so there's a lot that I don't know. I'm not confident at all on even a lot of the basic hooks, like 3s to 4s and such. Inners with an S. Inner S? I wonder sometimes about plays like that. Probably in the same Collins second grade class. And yeah, Tactics 47, we should consider that. I don't know if people have been doing that with the Thursday sessions simply because of anything that might affect the standings or anything like that, but I do know that you know, some of the other players in the club had been doing Collins games by arrangement. I don't mind doing something like Donor here. Like, right now I should be thinking about, first of all, definitely killing the lane, so you don't have... I mean, I guess lounges wouldn't fit there, but something similar to that that's in the pool. You don't want that to be destroying me. This pulls ahead by enough that I think I can keep the lead. 5 in the bag, though. It does empty the bag and draw 5. But if I want to hit that spot, I don't know about that. I might have a very vowel-heavy draw, actually, given that the bag is vowel-dominant at the moment. Let me think about this in case I have something better for that spot. You know what, let's go for it. I feel like I'm going to draw a ton of vowels, but then all of the remaining consonants are low scoring, so I don't think they're going to do much to me on any of these spots here. I feel relatively safe. And yeah, so Collins has very much been an experience in playing blind in some ways. Mostly I find the big challenge has been visualizing hooks. I mean, obviously I miss a lot of the Collins-only bingos that were inherited from the works of Edmund Spencer, but the thing that is, I think, the most difficult to work around at an early stage of study is hooks knowledge, for sure. Because there's a lot of stuff that, like, I mean, absolutely nothing feels defensive, and that's just the nature of Collins, I guess, that they really are not defensive. But yeah, at this point, should just mostly be thinking about laying off stuff. When it's my turn, I'll be looking at plays like that. Maybe some other play down here using the N, if I can see one. Even something like here. Don't know if I'll necessarily be going out in 2, but notice too that if I keep the L, I can in fact tag something with the L on Quail. And yeah, so I have lots of options despite sitting on all one-pointers. And I'm pretty sure I don't see what my opponent can do on this board at this point. I think it's pretty exhausted. I could have imagined him going for some kind of massive long shot with a US ending down here or something. but with that pool, no, not so much. Definitely not with that second U. Might as well kind of play around with this and see if we can solve. I mean, obviously, if there were lanes available, you'd have stuff like leagues. And, yeah, just gonna be glue. So yeah, should look for an out in 2 if I'm able to do so. I don't know. Alu is also good, but I don't know if the U and N and E would help me out anywhere. He is going to play out, so I should play purely for a point spread at this point. Because with S he blank, 100% he's going to play that off. So, yeah, I should just be capitalizing as much as I'm able to do. So 14 down here. I think this is almost certainly going to be best. Unless there is some kind of play down here that would, you know, score well enough. So 25 minus 10, that's plus 15. 22 minus 6, it's plus 16, but you might be taking this with an S play. Maybe. Yeah, let's just go with something that we know. And I'm moderately confident with that. I think that's a call-in, actually, but let's do it. Extra typo, we will have a music stream when I've gotten my equipment together for that. I'm actually just not living with my former actual instrument at the moment because we've been pandemic separated. Well, no, actually, I was kind of separated by a move even before that, but I'll just see what I can do with the electronic keyboard that's currently just a holdover on my end. I have been streaming Super Mario Maker here for on and off for the past year, although I did have to take a couple months off for various personal reasons. Okay, let's pass and wish my opponent a GG. So 2 wins today so far. And on boards where I had a surprising amount of control for a Collins game. Everything is valid. Yeah, I had a few that I was kind of unsure about, like a Puncta and such, but they looked like they would have plausibly come up in study. You liked Omega and Odia. Omega and Odia. Oh, here, yeah, I didn't see Omega. Okay, okay. Because I was looking at the A ending for short, and I just didn't see it. Yeah, I guess this was kind of reckless with O's and blanks and such in the pool. In terms of just creating too much volatility up here. But it's true that, like, on that turn I was... that was one turn that I wasn't too happy with anyway, so I think I agree with you there. Let's take a look at the examining board, since I don't think we have my next round pairings up yet. So we'll just kind of speed through and see what I missed. I was thinking about out voice much earlier in the game, as soon as I played voice, in fact. And I don't think it was available. I had OU at one point. I was actually worried about it when I played voice, because I was thinking that I was deciding between voice and covet. And I like the TI leave better, but, you know, I tend to think pretty defensively even at the opening when it comes to the consonant placement. And I was definitely worried that, like, out voice just doesn't get obstructed anytime soon, just due to the lack of parallels with the V. And so I was a little bit concerned about that, but also with the TT leave. Anyway, he is going to see impolite. Pistolite. Oh, Pistolite. Pistolite. Yeah, I guess if you've been playing Collins lately, Not much in the way of defense. But TTS voice, yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, we don't have TTS set up for things like bits donations. It is actually something that one of the other Mario streamers, who usually does the super late night slot that I do, is absolutely notorious for. That his chat is just round-the-clock TTS spam. But yeah, I'd actually set up the stream. I bought a capture card a little over a year ago for streaming Super Mario, and so we'd kind of been running a playtesting group here for some time, and I was kind of playing around with setting up for streaming ISC. And then they announced Woogles, and I was thinking, okay, you know what? In that case, let's just wait for Woogles. And then, yeah, I did find that. Okay. And by the time Woogles came out, I suddenly just was not able to stream for a little while for various reasons, and so it was really nice to finally get into a position where I could stream this game. Look at that. Tugarik. What is Tugarik? I have seen this before, but... Ah, yes, that's right. It's currency, of course it is. Also the same word as Togrog and Tugrik with an H, which, if you're studying by probability, you're not going to see anytime soon. But look at that, with an NR leave, that would have been really quite something. Kreng is not that suggested, but I guess that's because the valuations here are definitely thinking about dropping the U as soon as possible. Notice that the impoliter hook didn't become relevant, partly because Kreng went down, but I didn't really even think about the R hook there. And, you know, maybe if Kreng hadn't gone down, then definitely that would have been an oversight. Anyway, was definitely thinking about just dumping vowels. I did not see haiku. I don't know if I would have liked that anyway, because of the A. But I'm playing catch-up at that point. Yeah. I'm not totally comfortable with the theory sometimes with whether you're ahead and behind, like what you do with parallel spots like that, because I know they are kind of going to favor the player who's ahead just for volatility reasons, but I often find some of those considerations a little counterintuitive, so I think I made an okay decision. I don't think I knew that with a K, actually. Yeah, that was okay. Yeah, that looks right, pretty much. I mean, at that point, with either play, he's just risking this lane, but he's undoubling the T, so... Did I miss something here? No, I didn't. You-how. You-how, that's new to me. And that's because it is Collins only, and Scots. Yeah, I would not have burned the S for that, I don't think. Next round pairings are actually coming up really soon, so I'm just going to speed through this to see if we missed anything really serious. I was disappointed that I didn't get to play Arsehole here. But that's okay, Lothers was in fact best, while in a naive evaluation. I was looking at the C. Yeah, if I had looked harder, maybe I would have seen Corrals. I should know this set. It's relatively high probability for something like CH. T-Bread was correct for my opponent. Moxa, oh, I didn't think of this parallel spot with the X at all. That would have been great. Especially because the XU just kills everything here. I think I was kind of prioritizing dumping the Q, though, at that point. I get paranoid about the Q hanging around a rack for too long. And I thought I had a lot of flexibility with the X if I continued to keep it, so... Look at this word, Vifta. Vifta. In Shetland, meat hung and dried without salt. Also Vivda. Very useful to know as a V-dump. Keeps IIO, and so that makes it not so great, but the word itself and the positioning would have been pretty interesting. Is Fido really favored at all? Not really. but it's a tough rack for him to work with. Box room. Box room, interesting. Room for storing boxes. Who would have thought that that could possibly be called a box room? And yeah, wow, that would have opened up like crazy. Vide would have left the hook, obviously. And what did he do here? Yeah, just save, which... if he's keeping the double I, that's kind of a rough hold to dig himself out of, but... I just didn't know some of this stuff with a double M. Given that I didn't know it... I mean, I was looking at this M spot here, but I didn't know that I could use both M's, so... And yeah, have fun with the Queen's Gambit. I still have to keep up with that myself. I have to catch up on it, rather. I've been putting it off for the longest time, and... it means to fend in Norwegian, related to waft. Okay, interesting. So yeah, thank you for coming by, Extra Typo. We're really glad I could see you here for once, when we're not coinciding. Junkie would have been pretty interesting. But at this point... yeah, that would have scored much better. At this point, I think he was just trying to rebalance the rack, possibly trying to set up down here, but... Gazebo. Okay, I was looking at the Z position there, and I wrote that off thinking, okay, there's nothing on my rack that could possibly go, and look at that gazebo. Wonderful. 50 points there. Wouldn't even mind the S tagged on here, because it just wouldn't do that much, necessarily. Anyway, do you have to speed through this? This is Collins only, I think, with the E on the end. And yeah, thank you for seconding the recommendation of the Queen's Gambit, then, Tactics. Just seeing what kind of big plays would have been available. Word game. We missed word game. What kind of word game is this that we missed a word game? That's deplorable. But it's Collins only, as one word. So you can only have a word game as one word if you're not in North America. And of course the S's would just kill you there, but word game would have been fantastic. So yeah, inners is good. He went with inners in the other position, not in motor and arse here. And yeah, I do have my next pairing. We're just discussing Lexicon right now. And of course, as we get into endgame, not many choices left for my opponent. So yeah, we will be doing NWL in the next game in just a moment. And yeah, I mean, not that we had anything there after having to pass. So yeah, 2 wins today so far. Let's get into the next one. Okay, so here is Fuskabat. And we haven't played in some time. He is, as you can see, an NWL dominant player, so that's a North American lexicon for those of you new here. So that's missing some of the nonsense we've seen in previous games, and it's got a smaller pool of nonsense to pick from. I will be going second. Double F is sometimes actually pretty good. The F is, in terms of value, actually the only tile that gains value from being doubled. Which is not necessarily how we'll be using it here, because I think it makes most sense to just play something like Kef. But then the F in this position will go well with doubled Fs that string through it, if that remains open, which it won't. Do I see any 5s here? Would be better. No. Let's take it. Okay. Yeah, I'm really just going to go for scoring plays for the next little while and try to declunk some of the consonants that are conflicting with each other. And will pretty much be at the mercy of what my opponent is doing, because when you have this 3-letter opening play like that, I mean, these spots are not going to remain as is. They're not very parallel friendly either. I mean, I guess on the F side more so than the K side. So after an exchange 4 on my opponent's turn, this early in the game, I wonder if he's thinking about doing something a little bit more open, but I mean, you can't really read much from an opening exchange 4. Like if it were something like an exchange 2 or something, that would be fishier, but it's probably just a balancing thing. And yeah, it looks like he drew into something vowel heavy, and the X-bomb is going to be available to me if I can use it, which I can't. Yes, I can, because FE takes E. Now, I can even put in an L there for good measure. I can even put in an F there for good measure. Calf, this spelling of calf is good, right? It's got to be good. 74 points, let's do it. And that was very satisfying. 4-tile parallel like that for a nice fat play to get things going. Not only to get things going, but it keeps the board really closed. I mean, you do have S lanes here and here now. But yeah. Okay, I mean, double G is going to be the thing that I want to get rid of as soon as I can. Right now, though, you have to think from my opponent's perspective, what do you even play if you don't have an S? If you have an S, not a big problem. You can string something either way. If you don't have an S, there are no good places to play on this thing. There's nowhere to go. I mean, if he passed his turn or exchanged right now, I wouldn't be able to do much either. Even if I hadn't played off something like the L, I think the parallel here, as soon as I started extending with the L and then later with the F, that kind of killed possibilities down here, assuming no S. And once it started killing that stuff, then we got into this weird position here where the board is just locked down like crazy. There's just nothing to do here. But, and I have no incentive to open either. Like, if I wanted to open, I could, you know, go cello or something and keep too many Gs and not score any points, but this is such a strange position to be in after move 2. That I think the right idea would actually be to trade into the bag and try to pick up an S or a blank, and basically just try to wait this out. So for anybody who is new to Scrabble, there is a kind of condition for when the game terminates early, is if you have 6 consecutive scores of 0, and he's going to exchange. If you have 6 consecutive scores of 0, through things like exchanges and passes and so on, then the game ends immediately, which is going to be very interesting for me here because I am trading in. I'm going to trade in probably OGG. I have no incentive to open when I'm ahead, and I have every incentive to just try to remain stuck. I wonder if a big exchange is actually better, like trade in OGGI or something, because then you increase your chances of drawing into S or blank. So I will trade either OGG or OIGG, I think. And I think I will go with OIGG to avoid duplications and such. Because I don't see the advantage of keeping the I. Okay. So yeah, he's going to draw into an S, and that's going to open up. So much for that. And let's see if there's anything I can do here. I mean, I could just, play Jut. That would be vulnerable to an E down there, which I don't currently have, but I like dumping those tiles. Looking at what I can potentially do with plays that come down here. And I think I'm just going to take it. I mean, it is vulnerable to the E, but... yeah, too bad I don't have an E here, because I think Acciot is actually good. But I'll have to think about how we can continue to build our way down. Don't like the double I right now, either. Yeah, there might have been a better play going down, but I really wanted to get rid of the U and the second T, and scoring reasonably with them while staying ahead might be the right idea. It's just that I don't like reopening so quickly. Because now the board, if you're building towards a bingo to keep up, for instance, looks a lot more reasonable. Loop and Snoop, I'm going to give you a quick shout out. Loop and Snoop, I hope the monster hunting has been going well. Oh no, you're playing Super Mario Maker. Okay, well, I hope that's been going well as a break from the monster hunting. And welcome, Zycat. We're doing well today. We are on the third game right now, and we won the first two games against two rather tough opponents. This game began in a really weird closed position where both my opponent and I had to trade into the bag just now because we just couldn't play anything decent. But it looks like it is reopening pretty quickly, so... yeah, I hope everything is well on your side, Loop. And that's... I don't know if you were doing building or viewer levels or anything like that, but... that's whatever was on that end was going well. Building, okay, good, good. Looking forward to whatever you have coming then. You don't do viewer levels on weekdays, yeah. Ah, Topoi, okay. I think I know Topoi. Yeah, very interesting parallel position there actually for 30 points. I'm pretty sure I know this. Okay. The T actually really kills stuff going down here. This also threatens the S, so I feel like I'm kind of losing a bit of board control here in a way that's not great. But if I can do something here... I don't know if I just want to go like, yeah, or something. Ugh, don't like keeping IICOT. Doesn't follow up very well either. I am actually in a little bit of a weird position right now, I guess. I should think about maybe coming down through here. And yeah, have a good dinner, Loop. Oh, he does viewer hunts now, Zycat. Okay, I see that. Well, I guess viewer hunts is something that you can do in co-op. And yes, you are right. This is a piece of music from a game that you may have played. I won't spoil the answer just yet. I'll give you a little bit of time to try to guess that before we give that away, give the game away. Ooh, this is such a weird position. Trying to look for some way that I can get out of this. Hopefully without keeping double I, but maybe I have to. I don't like the S hook on the bottom of Topoi. I should just kill it. Okay, this has got to be something. Or it's got to work with another letter for some kind of 8-letter word, perhaps. Okay, I was worried about something like that, but thankfully that doesn't catch up by too much. He is closing in, though. I'm losing my opening advantage by quite a bit. C does go on top of the H if I want to do something there. I don't have the right vowels to go on top of the L, so nothing's going to go there. And yeah. I don't quite know what I could do to manage my rack. I think a C play down here is probably best, even if it's not going to be anything great. Nothing else I have goes on top there, so let's just go like crit or something. I don't really like leaving that. But right now, the situation with my rack is really not great at all, so... Still looking down here as well in case there's anything I can do. You know, with... this would just continue to close up for no points. Yeah. Hopefully I can just... stomp on this right away with my P or B, if I can find something. Like Podia. No, except O doesn't go in front of T, so... And as Zycat, you are correct that this is, in fact, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Actually, it is specifically from Torna to Golden Country. So I don't know if you played at Torna. I had a great time with Torna, actually, because it's nice to have a JRPG that feels like it's of that scale, but can actually be done within about 20 hours. It's so rare to have that. It's the only Xenoblade game of manageable length, in some ways. Okay, that's fine. He's very vowel-heavy. Had to get rid of the U's. It does open up another S lane, but that is shut down pretty easily if I want to, I think. I am also vowel heavy right now. So we'll have to see what I can do about that. I kind of like something like Apo. Because I think this actually does take the D on the end if I want to set up for that. B also goes up here, but is not going to string into anything on top of the U, so let's just go for it. And yeah, this is going to continue being vowel heavy. The top half of the board is still completely locked down. So I'm definitely looking at something like vowel heavy plays that go down here if there's some way to do that. But yeah, so far, not so much. May just go down here, except I don't like how most of the things that I could do are either going to leave me with tons of vowels or open up a massive lane going down here. I'm not far enough ahead of my opponent that I can afford to leave massive comeback opportunities. On the other hand, it is fairly early in the game, and so there's lots that could still happen. In some ways, it's too early to be thinking about really locking down the whole place, but you know, the way the opening turns just kind of congested the middle of the board and blocked off the whole top half. Apart from this lane, of course. Really, I think, set a certain expectation for me that I should be trying to keep things under control. And so yeah, we'll see what we can do with that. Whether it's going to lead to anything useful. I have to say, despite playing Torna and having a good time with it, there's a lot that I just don't really remember about it. But I think that's the way it is with the Xenoblade games sometimes, is that they just overwhelm you with stuff. After enough distance, I could not explain the plots to you if I tried. Interesting. Playing off one tile, but it is open to a D or S. What this is telling me is that he has an S or blank and wants to set up 2 lanes. Something going down this lane would score well if it hits the double, but would open up parallels on a triple for me to potentially come back. Something going down this lane would not score very well at all, but it also wouldn't be doing much else. I think I'm actually going to just go here or something. Bid might be better because... oh, I don't like any of these, actually. Yeah, let me think about this, because Bide would open up an additional lane on top of the E, and I don't really want to do that, but I'm so stuffed with vowels right now that I don't know if I actually have much of a choice. Could also just go for... yeah, but the thing is, keeping all those vowels doesn't do much for me either. Nice thing about Bide, though, is that if he does have a 7 going down this way, that opens up the triple for me. And so I want to draw into consonants so I can actually score on a triple. And I'm going to draw double blanks, which means that I'm going to prepare to burn tons of time looking for something that fits. Luckily, LY endings are good, ILY endings are good. Double blank is such a massive time sink that's... this could be a lot of staring. As Zycat, I did play the main game. I did play Xenoblade. And Xenoblade 2, actually. It's just that it was long enough ago now that a lot of it is kind of a blur. But yeah, happy monster hunting over on your side. And have fun with that. Yeah, I am kind of instinctively thinking about LY endings. But I'm too vowel heavy outside of that. And maybe I should be thinking of like IFY or ITY endings instead. That's the frustrating thing about having these double blank situations, is they don't score well, and you burn tons of time looking for something, and you know that you're almost certainly missing something that fits. Okay, bided. Yeah, if you bided your time, yeah, of course. Now, we know that this is no longer available, this is no longer available. This is going to be a D or S here, I think. So this is... a weird situation as well, where I will be looking for... I mean, I might just have to make a small play just so I can have a more playable rack, but I should be thinking about using one blank as an S, for sure. Like an LYSE ending or something. LISE ending. Or... Yeah, I should not spend too much time on this. I should just play off. Maybe even just play off the Y, to be honest. Although that would be very suspicious. Or maybe just go something like this. Billy. Have plenty of turnover. You have things like doily that can go in front of it. Yeah, let's just do that. Okay, this is great. You get tons of stuff here. You get hertzes, you get nertzes, you get all kinds of stuff you can do with this, in fact. Hertzes... actually, no, I think it would just be... If you have multiple hertz, it's just more hertz, right? Like megahertz and so on. But nertzes is definitely good. And then you have like various ZER endings. I think it's stuff like, you know, Patzers or something. I don't know if that's actually going to be anything good. And you can play through tiles for something like Zestier and double blanks. You'd think that we'd have something much fancier than any of the stuff I'm considering. But yeah, I guess we'll see what we can do with this. You have like seltzer. I don't even know if that's good. Or if it's... you sometimes get a little bit confused when it comes to whether things are brand names or... No, I think seltzer has got to be good. I have to remember what goes in front of oily... Because... I'm trying to think of... I think the R actually does go there. D definitely goes there if I use a blank as a D, but I doubt I will be doing so. Otherwise, I'll be looking at something down here. You know, for something like Nertzes. If I can put the Z on triple, then that would be great. So I was considering earlier, Patzers? Or am I thinking of Panzers? I think Patzers is good. You get, yeah, what have we thought about? We've thought about seltzer, we've thought about Patzers, we've thought about... I have my doubt about Hertz becoming Hertzes. Okay, that's going to be locked off. If I can do something... I'm looking at the IEST ending, so I could potentially go down here, and I don't think, unfortunately, that there is anything. You know, if I wanted to string Z over to this location. I think we'll just go with something like Patzers, maybe. Don't really like the A in that position, but 90 points is really difficult to argue with. Really don't like burning both blanks at once like this. I almost wish that I could just burn, whoops, one blank to get a huge play on the Z, and then keep the other blank. Like, you know, do a 5-tile play here. But I don't think anything fits the bill. Yeah, because if I were able to just do a Z play that uses 5 tiles and keeps one blank, that would be way better than actually going for the bingo. So what were we thinking? We were thinking Nertz's is 72 and leaves a vowel there anyway. Patzer's, I think, is definitely better. Let's do it. And okay, going to sit on a whole bunch of A's. That's okay, because if this remains open, which I do not expect it to do, we could have some stuff going on here. I feel like MAAR is good, right? Or am I thinking of MAAS? Because MAAR, and I think there's another 4 in there. Yeah, first choice play, if this remains available, would be something like that. 40-some points. I should be thinking of something like Aroma here. That would be great as a second choice. If the right side gets blocked off, as I expect it to be. Aroma would score 33 there and leave me with N8, which is great. I would be very happy to see something like that. So yeah, we've got a fair bit to work with here. And yeah, we'll see what my opponent does. I mean, he's about 110 behind, 109 behind, but when you have a triple location like this, if he manages to bingo into this, he's in great shape, and I'm not really ahead at all. And I was kind of thinking before this went down that it seemed like he was opening for something like an S with this, but maybe he was opening for the D now that I think about it. That we know that he had a D the next turn, and so maybe this was meant to be a D hook all along rather than an S hook. So that's something we'll have to think about. But yeah, I mean, I kind of have two relatively acceptable choices, one in each location, so I think I just need to wait this out and see what my opponent does with what is kind of a long turn. And yeah, I really do wonder if we had anything with that dreadful EILY blank blank rack the turn before. That's something we'll have to look up afterwards, because there probably is something in there that's just incredibly hard to see. And even so, we don't know if there was anything that would have fit. You know, just given the shape of the board at the time. So that's something that we'll want to look at in the analyzer. Okay, so he has a V there that I can see why he wouldn't necessarily be very happy with just going for that play, despite the 33-point score. And that would be because the PI really shuts this down. And when you're that far behind, ideally, you want to keep the lanes open. Because otherwise I just assert a ton of board control, and things just kind of collapse from there. So ING ending, of course, is the first thing we'll be looking at. Interestingly enough, not that I will do it because I don't have the S, but Niqab fits here. I wouldn't do it because the S possibility at the end would make it pretty bad, but Yeah, definitely looking at whether we can do anything with the ing. One thing is that now that we have some eyes to work with, we can come down here parallel to the Q if it remains open. I don't know that we can actually do anything useful there other than INN, which it scores. It doesn't really create a good situation in my rack, but yeah, it closes up. Currently, the biggest comeback possibility for my opponent, of course, is just going down here. But there's a lot that could happen with Q plays if they become available. I mean, there are no U's in the bag and no blanks in the bag, so I think any truly dangerous Q play at this point is out of the question. And that it's actually parallels like this that are likeliest to use the Q from here. And U is an awkward tile to play through, so... I feel like from my opponent's perspective, if he's looking for big comebacks, he would mostly be thinking about doing something in these positions. Okay, Sith. Yeah, I mean, that'll take the Q position. That's all there is to it. I almost think I should just shut this down. Because it would be very difficult, I think, to get a 7-tile fit over here, given that the only thing that will go in front of the G is an A. The score's about 20, spends most of my tiles. It's kind of too bad I don't have an R to play through for something like braining. But I think... yeah, there is an S in the bag, there's an A in the bag, there are a bunch of O's, so... one thing we should be aware of is this. It would be a tricky fit. But it's not impossible. It's not a big threat. I think this is the biggest threat, and that this is the way we should defuse it. And yeah, with only one A left in the bag, you know, the G is really going to control this position. I mean, even I can't do anything with it. So yeah, heading towards endgame now with 4 tiles left in the bag. And the W being a potentially clunky thing in there. No I's to go with the N and G for any kind of ING ending, and really no lanes to work with. One thing, you know, with the I in a very late position like this was unlikely to be that useful, but I feel like occupying this position really did exhaust the top left quadrant of the board in a way that will allow me to just patiently outscore my opponent from here. So, and I have an S as well, and the S is going to be nice to have in case I want to, you know, tag anything on the end of the Q. Having the S in the endgame is going to be fine anyway in terms of being able to slip it into places like, you know, even dump the S by itself here for 21 points. There's a lot of stuff you can do like that that will ultimately just control the outcome in terms of having reliable places to go at the end and not getting stuck. And so yeah, I feel like I'm in a very comfortable position at this point. 92-point lead, holding an S on a mostly exhausted board. But these are the kinds of situations where you just go through the board and make sure you haven't forgotten any really serious threats that could come back and bite you. Yeah, even something like this, bouts would be 20. There's one tile in the bag. I don't know if I want to spend the S so soon, and I have it available for stuff like this. I do, however, have the only S, and so if I just do bout over here, next turn I can do an SO play going down here and get a kind of double score off of it. Because the idea here is that I can put a back hook on the S, and my opponent cannot. And this was on the assumption that he's not just going to put a quick little A play over here either. So let me think about that, because I mean, if I really wanted, I could just go for the SO start right here now. I think Sorb is good. Maybe it's better to just go for it now, actually. I'll be drawing one tile. And I should think ahead to where I could potentially go with that. Because what am I worried about? Would I be worried about a W? No, not really. Let's just go for it. Okay, great. T-O-N-E. I think I'm pretty likely to play that off. Although on a board that is this closed up, maybe not. I mean, you've got some trivial stuff like stone over here for 10. But let's see. If that gets blocked, I don't know what I'm necessarily looking at. I mean, that's the thing I'm threatening, but my opponent could just as easily go snow or something there. In fact, I am kind of expecting that he'll just try to land the W on a double word score somewhere. He does have the A for this position, because A will go in front of BI, so that is a potential way to go. Interestingly enough, there are no consonants on my opponent's side that will fit over the I, which is greatly inconvenient on his side of the board, because it means he can't do anything much going into this position unless it ends with AO specifically. And so yeah, I might go something like OWN. No, min is not a word. I keep forgetting that sometimes for some reason. Because you would think that, oh, there's a max, surely there's a min. And that is not, in fact, the case. Okay, so he's going to go for a scone to block my stone. And so instead of playing off all 4 tiles, I will probably just play off 3 and score in that location. Otherwise, he's clearly threatening the W there. Interestingly enough, I'm looking at where he's going to go after that, and yeah, Ton would also prevent him from doing a 3-tile play here. I should look a little more carefully to make sure I do not, in fact, have a way to go out. But yeah, unfortunately, no room for Tenuto now that I put the S in there. And the triple as a parallel should be, of course, strictly better. 19 versus 14. really doesn't matter if I go not or ton. Either one's going to be fine. Either one's going to be pretty equal, I think, when it comes to the position, so we'll just do it. So yeah, we really blocked this board like crazy, keeping my opponent possibly even under 300, depending on where he chooses to go. That's really been the story of the day, just winning on closed boards. Oh yeah, he'll get over 300 with pawn. Oh yeah, of course, of course. Should have thought about the A there. And that's going to be passed, and we just take the game, so... I guess we should step through that quickly to see what went up with that. But yeah, very weird game just because of the blocking up front. It'll be very interesting to see what the evaluation says about coming out of this position before, of course, he exchanges into the S. Let's get into the analyzer and take a peek. So yeah, this is my first 3-win day with this club in a long time. And yeah, he's already kind of telling me in the chat about what he was trying to do with that block position. But this is the Olympic rack. And now I'm kind of seeing why he did change 4. Although Sui, I mean, I didn't really know Sui either. I would not be surprised if he didn't know it either on his end. Let's take a look here. Used for calling pigs. Yeah, I've looked at the 5s ending in Y before, because there are about 1,000 of them in NWL, and it's a very difficult list to remember even if you do look at it, because so many of the things there just look strange. Oi keeps a lot of vowels, but it's not terrible. I think the exchange was probably reasonable. And, what do we have here? We have Kef. That was my chosen play. That evaluates best. And I'm happy with it, even if it did block everything, eventually. And yeah, he's drowning in vowels at this point. That's... And Ilias. Oh yeah, Ilias just goes with Ilya. But he, you know, one wouldn't have just burnt the S like that. Ali was probably fine except for burning both of the E's. I think that's the main strike against it. You can see how much worse it evaluates, in fact, about 4 points worse. And that would just be based on keeping I rather than E. Flex is, of course, the chosen play here. If you really want to flex. Look at some of the alternatives here, extol and so on. Very happy with that, I think, even with what happened. Nice to be up on a bingo on a closed board without... Up by a bingo, rather, on a closed board without playing a bingo. Yeah, I feel like I kind of gave up that position very easily because I just let the board open up and, you know, have a bunch of very non-defensive plays coming out of that. But when it's that early in the game, I think it's a little bit difficult to decide on. My opponent was actually telling me in this turn he was considering going Celli, the way that I was kind of thinking about something like cello, and Celli, of course, not even taking an S, being already pluralized would have really killed everything, I think. And as the person who's behind, he would not have wanted to do that. Because it's only the plural of cello. I think exchange is probably fine there. I don't know if CHEU would have been the way to go. I would have at least kept the C. The interesting thing was that he was already holding the S. And so, rather than going for a scoring play with the S to open the board, he was deciding instead to just keep the S into something. I don't know if I agree with that. I really feel like I would have done something like Q's and just spent the S for the sake of opening the board, especially with C going with H. And yeah, Hughes is perhaps even better. Definitely a lot of recommendations to do things other than exchanging, because I mean, I can kind of see the reasoning that he would think that I can't do anything on this board either, so it'll give him a chance to draw into the bag and try to make something happen with the S that is nice and big. Because he kind of knows that I'm unlikely to score well on this turn unless I have one of the other S's. But I don't know if I agree with the exchange. I feel like I would have just tried to do a mid-size play and open and try to draw into the bag for more. Because the closed board right now favors me, right? Like, if I'm ahead by this much, I want to just kind of dare him to get to a deadlock situation. Look at this, exotic and exotica. Exotic and then just kind of follow up with the A hook. Imagine that. Not a smart thing to do, I don't think. Even if it does score about 20. No, not smart to just kind of assume your opponent will not jump on it. I'm pretty sure exotic takes S as well. You know, for... Yeah, I was thinking in terms of exotic animals and such, that you would hear veterinarians talk about exotics all the time. I'm happy with the exchange, I think. Let me take a look at the exchange valuation here. So I was comparing GGO and GGIO, and it looks like it does slightly favor GGO. 6 eyes in the pool at this point. Yeah, it is favoring keeping the eye. And so that's the kind of bit of leaf evaluation that I'm kind of doing through guesswork, but which needs to be learned with experience, I think. And yeah, stuff like this. I guess if he was playing Joe's, that's because he didn't want to give back to Jay. Because the only reason why I would see him trying to pick Jeers is if he's thinking that he doesn't want to dangle the J and he wants to keep the O for a follow-up. But in terms of leave, I don't think that justifies it. But I don't know. Jut is pretty acceptable. I was looking for something like that to get rid of the U. I just didn't see it. I do know this word, I just didn't see it. Pretty sure it doesn't take anything at the end either, but you never know, because maybe some stuff like this takes a Y or something weird. But yeah, I think Jut is okay. A lot of junk on that side. Tupoi is a very good find there. It is, in fact, the one that is just going to straight up score best. Exotica is still available. Exotic is still available all this time. And I'm just going to miss that consistently. I had a lot of trouble with this turn. I didn't know what to do with this. Look at how highly valued the OI is, in fact, just to undouble the I. That's, yeah, this is evaluating quite a bit worse. And positionally, it is much worse, I think, in terms of allowing for counterplay. With about a 30-point lead at this point, I wasn't really comfortable just making a sub-10-point play like that, because, you know, this something like this would be still vulnerable to certain fat consonants. And yeah, I wasn't too happy with that. Lots of choices here. Rival, I think, is fine, although, of course, if he knows something like Nival, which I'm not sure I would have Oh, Nivell. Okay, Nivell, yeah. As pertaining to snow. Yeah, that would just be based on the DR synergy, I guess. But Rival is fine, I think. Keeping stuff like D allows you to potentially follow up over to A. Wonder if I missed something good here. It's still recommending exotic to me every single turn, and this turn would have been not a bad choice. I just never thought about extensions from X. So crit is not too unreasonable. I wasn't happy with this, but that's okay. Yeah, audio would have been great. He's definitely thinking about dumping the U's though, and so Uno is alright. I see a justification for it. Oh, I did not think about the O fit here at all. That's a nice fit. And what do we have here? And yeah, lots of things you could do to take advantage of that position, but what did he wind up going with? Really? On that turn? I guess he was thinking about the D, but the thing is, like, if you just play off W, you're not going to draw into anything. I think it's possible that he didn't know the A-pod hook. Because holding double D with the A-pod hook there, I feel like he definitely would have taken it if he had seen it. And maybe the idea was that, you know, he was kind of banking on some kind of opening coming, but I was expecting something much more threatening from a one-tile dump like that. Because it looked so much like a fish for S-hook or D-hook. Beady, I don't think I knew that spelling. I think it's probably just the same as B-I-D-I. And yeah, Wud always looks good for the leave, to be honest. I mean, if you're going to dump W-U-D, I think it's usually a good idea to do that. It's usually going to improve your rack. I'm pretty sure this is just the same as B-I-D-I. Yeah. Notice that it also takes an E hook at the end. That's kind of fancy. And yeah, at that point, I mean, I was worried about this lane. I was maybe thinking that I wasn't playing good defense against a potential bingo, but Bide is okay. I mean, if I had seen something like this to not open too much, not really open that much, and keep EI, I would have done it. I didn't think about that spelling of Dobie. And yeah, 2 places for quad. A quad instead of quid here would have saved the I to go parallel to the Q. But I can see why he would go there for 31 instead if he didn't want to risk opening that up. Also because this is still a much better bingo spot in many ways. Okay, what did I miss? Life Boy. Life Boy. If you really search with double blanks and you consider the UO diagram, you get a Life Boy. And it is the thing that rescues you from a game like this. Any of various kinds of buoyant device for keeping people afloat in an emergency. Yeah, that's actually fantastic. I would never have seen that with double blank. I wouldn't, I think, even have considered the boy part of Life Boy, but what a spectacular find that would have been. And Myeloid, doilies, yeah, if I... Given that I was already thinking about stuff like oily and so on, I should have thought about doilies. And because I have seen and used a spelling before, it's one of the higher probability bingos that actually hasn't the Y in it, I think. And but double blank, like, it's really hard to see the stuff with double blank, because when are you going to think about looking at YL as a combination? Same with myeloid, like, when are you going to think about MY? So given all that, oh, I guess I didn't think about that position for oily, but the reason I would not have done that anyway is because if I'm holding double blank, I want the lane to stay open. So, and after that, it starts recommending, like, plays that spend the blank. And they evaluate really well, actually. Look at the leave evaluation on some of this stuff. That's like, keeping one blank is so heavily weighted in the leave evaluation that it thinks that spending one blank on a 30-ish play is as good as bingoing with a 60-ish play, because the blank that you keep is given such a massive weight. I think if you put it through Sim in Quackle or something, you would not see that reflected quite so vividly. Like, I think it's just the way that the blank is weighted, like, really kind of messing with double blank situations, but I don't know much, really, about double blank situations. And yeah, like you were saying, EO blank versus E blank blank. I mean, you know, if you have a bingo, you play it, I think, at this point, but I generally just don't really know how engines, like, even with Quackle simming and such, I don't really know how it deals with double blanks. Because I find that, like, maybe leave evaluation is not great for situations like those. But I don't know. I don't know that stuff well enough to really say much about it decisively. Yeah, lots of stuff that would go here. Interesting that that does not happen. Because, you know, this doesn't look particularly like a bingo setup, because why would he think that I'm keeping double blank, right? Possibly he just wasn't looking at this parallel here. He was definitely probably thinking about blocking the lane, but who knows? So Patzers is best. I don't think I knew Potzers. I wonder if it's the same thing, actually. An inept chess player. Okay, so that is why I would have known the word Patzer. I was thinking that it was maybe a term from boxing or something. But that's probably just from watching too much chess boxing. Or I guess if you're a poor boxer as well as a weak chess player, then you're a double Patzer. You're a Patzer and a Potzer. You know those words well, yeah. No, I guess I've been sort of consuming enough chess content in the background that I would have just heard Patzer here and there. But yeah, I haven't really been playing chess lately. I've been doing a lot of stuff like Lichess puzzles on the side, but I haven't actually been playing the game. And I feel like I should, in fact, get back to it at some point. Look at this placement of Visid. Wouldn't have spent the S on that, of course, but that would have been really great. I don't know if he hesitated on something like Weist. It seemed like he took a long time to decide on Veed here. And, you know, PI really shuts everything down. Like, PE at least leaves the possibility to put the A or the O in front. And so I think this was definitely kind of a mistake turn on my opponent's side here. I can see why, you know, in the heat of the moment you might doubt something like Weist, but I definitely would not want to shut down that hard from being that far behind. Aroma was well spotted. I'm pretty happy with that. Amoral, look at that. Oh, I didn't even think about A in front of Bided. That would have been very fancy. Fancy, but I would have still gone with Aroma. Mistouch, look at that. Hard one to see because you wouldn't really necessarily think about playing through to you like that, but I was looking at a rack and thinking, oh, there's got to be something in there, you know, but and of course, here on the board, the only tile to actually play through for an 8, realistically, is the U. Unless you're thinking of, like, you know, MOST ending somewhere or something, or thinking about this lane. Like, if you're going to play through a tile, you're going to play through to U, but Mistouch is a hard one to see. And so yeah, wonder how well Sith actually evaluated here. Smith, I doubt he would have gone with that, just because of the way it dangles the triple, but Omic would have been pretty good here. I mean, the issue with the SIT at this point is that you don't actually have S-hooks, right? Like, you are still just going for these lanes. But very difficult situation for my opponent if he does mistouch, which... It's really interesting to go through these games sometimes and see all the ways in which you could still have lost when you thought you were safe. Very valuable experience in not getting complacent, because eventually you face players who actually do find stuff like mistouch most of the time. Like I said, wasn't really looking at the abided position. I just wanted to block off, to be honest. Purely positional play. And at this point, I felt really safe. Bozo. Oh, video. I didn't think about video. I mean, one tile in the bag, I don't know if I would have gambled on the 50% chance of drawing a vowel. Because I wouldn't just want to draw the W or something, right? So I think I was right to keep the O, even if we did ultimately draw the E. And yeah, I knew all kinds of things that would have happened if either of us had bothered to consider the abided spot. And that's pretty much all there is to see about that one. I don't know if there was anything we wanted to go back to with the other games to step through carefully. I think I kind of sped through the endings of those, but a lot of the interesting stuff seemed to be settled by that point. So, yeah, 3 wins on closed boards all day. That was not how I expected the Collins games to go, that's for sure. But that is pretty much going to be it for this stream. So I think at this point... Oh, Filipino, thank you so much for the follow. I don't know if I will necessarily be rating anywhere, given that our audience is kind of small at this point, but might as well plug in the schedule. We run at unreasonably late times most of the time. We'll be back to Mario Maker for the next few days, and while this is the regular Scrabble stream, I'm going to see if I can do some additional ones to fit in some other things like Blitz games or some Collins practice or something. I need to learn how to play quickly. I do not tend to do that very well, so... in the meantime, though, I might scan around to see if we can forward you to somebody interesting. If not, then we will probably just call it for today. We might actually just pass you... let's see, to somebody else. But while I scan around for that, because there's nobody running Scrabble right now, we may pass you to somebody on the Mario side. While we're scanning for that... oh, you're running a Blitz Club on Friday nights, okay. I'll see if that's potentially something I can make. I didn't know about the Friday Blitz time. But I should look into that. I don't know if this week will work for that, but... Okay, okay. I will look into that. Thank you for telling me about that, Tactics 47. Was that the one that Benji was setting up, or is that a local thing? Because, yeah, that's the thing. I just don't really know how to play Blitz, and it feels like a valuable skill, particularly for streaming purposes. In any case, we'll look into some of that. We'll look into providing you with more contents on both the video game side and the word game side. And we'll think about what we can do to maybe bring some things like the Blitz Club onto the stream. I don't think it'll happen this week, but we'll try to make something work. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me and watching that today, and I hope the games were reasonably entertaining and that the boards we looked at were, well, reasonably appealing. Going to look around for a minute to see who to pass you off to next, but otherwise that will be all from me. Have a good night, depending on time zone, of course, and fare thee well. And yeah, thank you for coming by, as well as Samuel. Samuel, we've been playing some of your levels lately, I think. If you're the Samuel I think you are. But we'll discuss that on one of the thematically appropriate streams. So, once again, take care. Have a good day.